مسمار بطعم حماق له سوري كم تقدمنا زبلنا خلت تتصاوت يوم زلوا بزنا ኤርትራ ወይኔ ዓድና ማለት እዩ አማኑኤል ገብረ እግዚአብሔር እናሆም ዘርአይ ይመስልን እንተዚ ተጋጊ ያ sorry ترى سكان ساب غيره كايره من لسي او هلو
categorised climbs. The little cheeky rascals, aren't they, the organisers, not categorising this?
I think that's the most diplomatic I've ever heard you be, Adam.
Rascals, yeah. Well, I can't swear, can I?
Yeah, it's been it's made it interesting.
Yeah.
I'd same for the teams as well, and I said that, you know, this is not just us having a moan.
It's difficult.
Much more important that the teams have the correct information as well, isn't it, really? Let's be honest, they're the ones that have to do the racing and make the calls.
I think we had more stable time checks from what we can see on TV than what race radio was giving the team cars. So we had one of the DSs we were speaking to within the race. I mean, 1 minute it's 4 minutes, next minute it's 2 minutes, next minute it's 10 minutes. Which is it? Ridiculous.
Well, it's 36 seconds now between first and second on the road. It's just over 3 minutes to this pairing from Arendsman, who leads the race. And of course, if you're doing the maths here, well, Arendsman 1:18 behind Michael Story. Needs to still get the best part of 2 minutes back before the end of this stage.
Yeah.
And well,
Bauman's gone.
Just about a change, isn't it? You can just see the gap opening up there. In the meantime, the group behind are moving on to the next climb. This is an uncategorised climb, but this is steep, Adam. Looking again at the gradients. A lot of them in the double. Derek G can still see Arendsman. Damon Arendsman continues to hold him off. 22 kilometres still to go.
See, and he was carrot at the minute for him, isn't it?
pulled the team car out yet. Storer continues to ride. Put quite some time into them there, Adam Blythe.
Over a minute, I'd say. Easy over a minute, I think. If you look at it now, 2:46 to 3:12, no way, Jose. I think that's probably around 4:12. They're getting the three mixed up.
And maybe the 3:12 there to Bowman.
Yeah, possibly.
It's a long way. I mean, just look up the road.
Well,
if you look all the way around the corner, and the top of your picture, that car that's just pulled up, that was the Jayco car, wasn't it, for Koen Bouwman?
So if you look at that, if it's 2:46 to Storer and 3:23 to Bouwman, that seems like a reasonable gap for what they are. And then you look how much distance in between Bouwman and these riders. It's massive. It's not massive, but it's a gap that is increasing. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
A reminder, in this group, Gal, Ciccone, with Caruso, Balde, Paul, Hindley, Double, and Cepeda. Sole leaders, Arendsman.
Final climb after this one. He's only got about 1.5, 2 Ks left of climbing, and then he's up and over the top. Small downhill, steeper towards the bottom, flatter section, and then it's up towards the final climb of the day, 7.6 Ks long. It's not a short one, Rob.
I wonder how Derek G's feeling here, because for a long time he was bringing it back, Arendsman just continued to hold him off, though.
He does. I think, Arendsman's got the benefit of riding his own tempo, so's Derek G, obviously. When you've got someone in front of you and you gradually get closer, you start to bleed more, you start to squeeze a little bit more on the steeper sections, you might push on more than what you should be doing, so your heart rate fluctuates a little bit more. You can get excited a little bit, it's almost like, it's like anything. If you're running down the road and you're running a running race when you're younger trying to catch someone, you think you're catching them, you speed up, and then you don't catch them, and your lights go out, and then that's it. Go and sit back with your schoolmates.
Sounds like when I go out for a run every day, that, Adam.
Yeah, same.
So it's listed as just under a minute now on that picture there. Storer to the Ciccone group. Pigazzoli back, but looks just like he's about to lose contact. By the way, also there is Matthew Riccitello. No Paul Sixas in the group, I'm afraid, here. I've not seen him since we started to get those first pictures. There were a lot of reports of the weather affecting quite a few riders today. Maybe that's what's done for the young man from Decathlon who was on the podium at the start of the day and in the white jersey.
Hello.
It's all part of being a GC rider, isn't it? We've seen riders in the past really struggle with the cold, but the GC riders, they're so consistent through most days, most weather, and that's what makes them the really good GC riders, where you can adapt to each weather. You look at even just a one-day race yesterday with Pogačar performing the way he did in Flèche Wallonne. Incredible.
Long way up to Michael Storer. Look at that. Look at that. He's on fire here, is the Australian.
Yeah.
Well, if the time gap's to be believed, he's almost to within 2 minutes of Arendsman now, but that, again, looked like a lot longer than a minute, didn't it, when you looked around the corner there to the next group. This, in the meantime, is Arendsman, who's just about to go over the top, it seems. Not too far away. Of course, there'll be no sort of KOM up here because this isn't a classified climb. At the top of it, as you see a few spots of rain, Arendsman continues to lead.
Arendsman lead and Storer jumped back over Derek G in terms of his general classification spot at the minute. So he's back into virtual second place on the road. A reminder that Thymen Arensman has still 1:18 back from Michael Storer, so Storer's got to get under at least 1:18.
Well, with the bonus seconds as well at the end, you'd say he's got to get a minute back, hasn't he, roughly from where he is now?
Yeah, and I think
minute,
on that
is.
The way that he's going on this last climb, he should be able to do that. I think a little bit of a longer climb. I mean, what's he pulled back? 40 seconds on this climb?
Oh, more than that.
More than a minute. Yeah. So if you take that into hand on the last climb, he should be able to do it, if not more.
Storer's in the form of his life.
He's flying.
20 kilometres to go. Thymen Arensman, well, he's showing some real strength here. Whatever happens towards the end, it's a ride to be saluted, this, from the man from the Ineos Grenadiers. Now, Baalman is about to be caught by the next group. We're being told at least a minute and a half now between the green jersey and this group here.
It's 2.5 minutes, this, Rob, at the end, at least, I reckon. If Storer keeps going the way he does, and these riders, you know, they're obviously... I don't think anyone's taking it easy within this group or not trying to pull turns. You know, you got Ciccone and Gall doing a lot of work, but the other riders behind, I don't think they're just sitting on the wheels.
Oh, it's incredible when you think how strong Storer has been. We remind you, since we've had television pictures, he's one of the riders who had no teammates with him at the top of that halfway point. He's done everything himself here in the second half of the race today. And if he can do that, other teammates here have had teammates. Other opponents, I should say, have had teammates. He's done everything himself so far, and he's putting up quite good descents.
But that's the way to do it, you know. I think being on your own sometimes, if you have teammates there, it can make things more difficult in a way. I think when you're on your own, you've only got one choice, and that's to take the race into your own hands, and that's what he did. And he's done it brilliantly, you know. You look at that gap, 4 minutes it was at to the breakaway where Arensman was up on that peloton. He's brought that down to below 2 minutes now on 2 climbs.
Arensman then down onto a very short section in the valley before the final class 5 climb. Just to see what happens in this section now before we get to the start of the climb with regards to his gap on G. It's listed at 23 seconds. We haven't seen G for a while on the cameras. Hopefully we'll get a look at him now.
This is a part where neither of them will want to, you know, go full gas. They want to keep doing the numbers. They want to keep ticking along as best as possible. That neither of them will want to pile on the pressure as such too much just because of what they've got ahead of them still. 7.8 k's of climbing. It's not the steepest in the world. It's still almost 8 kilometres of climbing, and then they drop down to the finish line.
Storer trying to take as much of advantage as possible now.
Recover, free wheel, recover.
Just under 2 minutes from Arensman to Storer. Means another 45 seconds or so are required to be brought back still by Storer to make sure he remains in the race lead.
Easy.
It's pushing on 2 minutes of a gap now to this lot. What a move that was from Storer there.
Fantastic move. And only one. You have to remember, only one move. It wasn't a case of being going, coming back, just one big attack. Made it stick straight away. And that's what you have to do there, the easiest things to do.
Here comes Storer onto that same valley road. Now he will have to put pressure on the pedals again. He can't hang around, really. But of course we know which his terrain is. But that's when it goes uphill. Just a couple of kilometres time, he'll be climbing again. Opportunity to make sure he's fed and watered as much as possible. Souvenir for somebody. Chase is about to come down to the bottom as well. Led by Paul. Balde in there too.
You've got to take your hat off to Aronsman, haven't you, and Derek G. You know, they've done brilliantly so far. They've been pretty much solo since we came on air. And those gaps, yes, they've come down to Stora, but in terms of the peloton, what, have they shaved off 20 seconds, the peloton, to Aronsman?
Not much.
Hardly anything.
Markieren Hashtags Live Uphill, Hashtag Tour of the Alps, Real Mountain, the Real Feeling, echte Berge, echte Emotionen.
Compared to Aronsman, gap's gone above 30 seconds again, and he's now on the final climb of the day. Both of them are just starting it. It's a third category climb, 7.5 kilometers at 5.8%. The Karticha Saddle is the final climb of the day. Third category climb, just under 8 kilometers as I mentioned, and just under 6% is the gap. The leader of the race, Tim Aronsman, just over 30 seconds ahead of Derek G chasing. It's under 2 minutes now to Michael Storer, who's the race leader. He needs to get about 45 seconds back, still on Aronsman on this climb if he can, to make sure he remains in the overall general's classification lead. We've seen some tremendous rides today. Aronsman, obviously, moving a long way from the finish and making sure he's a real danger in this race. Derek G trying to follow him, but what about this man? Michael Storer, who's been flying up the climbs. He was isolated and on his own and is putting in a brilliant defence of the jersey so far. But Adam Blythe, it's not job done just yet.
No, not just yet. Aaron's been 118 down on Storer at the start of the day on the general classification, and he's still got that buffer on him. He's still got around 40 seconds, 30 seconds roughly of time to bring back on this man. He's still the virtual race leader. He's got that back on GG, was at 2 minutes 11. He's currently chasing Aronsman at around 24, 30 seconds. The time gaps are up and down at the minute, but just see him in the background there. Yeah, there's still a little bit of work to do to be Storer, but this is a longer climb. It's a faster climb as well. The gradient's not too steep, just over 5%, so it's one that's going to be tackled quite quickly. So in terms of Storer reducing that gap, it's going to be a shorter climb that he has to do it on, probably in length. It's 7.6k, but it'll probably take the same amount of time as the previous categorised climb took, with just under 5 kilometres, but 8.3% average gradient.
It's been a filthy weather day today. Thankfully, in the second half of the stage back in Austria after the trip to Italy, where the rain really came down, it's been a bit nicer. It's been cold, it's been miserable, it's been wet. There's a lot of tired bodies out there. In fact, I'm already intrigued to see how many riders are going to be on the start grid tomorrow. We only had 89 at the start earlier on. We haven't seen more than 25 riders on the television pictures today because of the gaps we've had. It's been brutal out there.
We've only seen about 4 riders. It's ridiculous. This is the most we've seen.
No, it's been brutal, hasn't it?
Yeah, awful. There's a big difference between riding on these climbs anyway and doing this terrain, but when it's in the rain and cold, it's not necessarily the climbs, it's the descents. And you get cold in the valley roads in between that.
Group of 3:45, almost 2 minutes now from Storer. Gal were there with Hindley and Ciccone going off to the left to try and move. Cepeda, double. Bauman's in this group with Caruso, Paul, Balde. And at the front, Arensman. Settling into this climb, looking behind to see the distance to G.
He's not fading, is he?
No. There was a moment when it looked like G was certainly coming across, didn't it? But he's sort of been stuck at that half a minute for a while now.
Stuck at that half a minute, and also I think this climb suits Arensman better, really. I think in terms of gradient, not as steep on the road, can settle into a rhythm, push a bit of a bigger gear on. But same with this one, you know, how much did he give early on to get away from the riders? How much he got left in the tank? 156. He's been pegged at that for a long time. I would say that's less than what it is.
I'll keep an eye on it, because if Arensman is capable of holding off for the stage win and taking the jersey, it will be a monster ride from the Dutchman.
Incredible ride.
Now then, attack from the next group, and Felix Gall has gone on home roads in Austria. Time to react for Giulio Ciccone and company. He's the man in the red jersey trying to do just that. Gall's acceleration there, leaving them all behind.
I mean, he had to try and do something. He's obviously everyone I thought was on the limit, but Gall, he's obviously got something left in the tank.
Reminder stage winner in fantastic fashion a couple of years ago at the Tour de France. He has a big ride or two in him. Of course, it needs a monster ride to get anywhere near Michael Storer here. In this group, 3 and 45, they're riding for their own GC places and time in this group. With 12.5 kilometres to go and these time gaps, surely the stage a long, long way from anyone's thinking here. Started the day in 5th in the GC, did Gall, 45 seconds.
It's interesting, this one with Gall, isn't it? Like, why he's left it this late almost. I know they've had downhills, they've had uphills, maybe finding his rhythm after being in the cold, but he tried to respond to Storer, didn't seem to have the legs. He might have started to come around a little bit, but, you know, only with 12k still to go, and that's for Arensman out in front, and that gap, 142. Thanks, Rob. It's coming down.
You called it, Adam. You said it should be smaller. It looked like it was smaller. It is smaller. It's 141. He could do with getting another half a minute, though, for breathing space. Arensman's burying himself. He will be suffering here. In fact, he is.
A lot of time up on steeper climbs if you're feeling better, but on these roads here you're rolling faster, so it's harder to get that time back. It's harder to really put down the pure climber as Storer is. He should be able to do so as the way that he's been climbing already, but it's going to be harder for him.
Gall with that usual seated style of his. There had been a reaction behind. It could be one of the white jerseys. Would have been either Caruso. Or Bora Hansgrohe jersey belonging to Jai Hindley. No, it was Caruso.
You can see the difference in speed on this climb as well. The gradient's less, it's visibly faster. Bardet just being distanced as well out the back of that group now.
Arensman versus G is the main duel here for the stage win, it seems.
Yeah, and the rain started coming down, Robin. Let's not forget there is a small descent before it kicks up to the finish. It's not any descent is not hard when it is hard. Sorry, when it's in the wet. So Arnsman just needs to throw caution to the wind a little bit. Don't take too many risks. Make sure he gets down it safely. Store a 141 still. Do I believe it? No, I don't.
Ya? Ya, sekarang saya
Really fracturing this group now. Everybody going for as much time as they can, and then see how they can approach the final stage for that general classification. Giulio Ciccone is the man who's made it up with Damiano Caruso.
Ajani.
These gaps now, there'll be plenty of that overnight. As we see Ricky Tello. He's alongside Cepeda. Who looks behind his... This group at around...
Final part of it, Ciccone's going to attack it. The visible speed from what we've seen from the helicopters. We've not really seen the helicopter shots from...
Arnsman's still the main man to look at for the stage then, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%. You know, even with the downhill, even if you throw caution to win 42 seconds, and the way that he's performed since he came on air, he was solo since he came on air all the way to the finish line, I think he's going to be more than fine, I think.
Gal still maintaining that lead over Caruso and Ciccone. Every time we've looked, it's been Caruso who's really been pulling hard. It is around 12 seconds between those two groups. By the way, Gal is group 4 on the top of your picture with all of those numbers that are lined up, giving you the various gaps. Tim and Arnsman just about in the virtual GC lead for the moment, but Storer is only a handful of seconds off getting it back.
Yeah, 7 seconds and he's back in that lead, and I think, you know, the next time gaps we get,